Okay, good afternoon. We're back in session here and so we've got 72 viewers with us today. So welcome to our viewers and to the council members and employees of today's meeting. We just want to go back through and do roll call one more time just to make sure we know who's with us this afternoon as we proceed on the agenda. And Prez, did you want to do that? Roll call, go ahead. Okay. President Glenn McCallum.
Aye.
Vice President Michelle Leclerc.
Okay.
Provincial Secretary Marlene Hansen.
Here.
Provincial Treasurer Jeremy Denemy.
Present.
Minister Laura Burnoff, NR1.
Ihiota.
Minister Leonard Montgrant, Northern Region 2. Sir. Okay, he's
Still leading his board.
oh, he's there. Okay, Minister Brennan Morasti, Northern Region
I'm
3.
here.
I'm here as well, folks. Minister Morasti.
Most people cannot break out.
Carrier, Eastern Region 1.
He had to step out, so he asked me to do his motion.
Okay. Minister Brent Dignas, ER2.
Good afternoon.
Minister Kelsey Lepowick, Eastern Region 2A.
Here.
Thank you, ministers. Minister Mark Friesen, Eastern Region 3.
I'm here.
Thank you. Minister Loretta King, Western Region 1.
Hi.
Thank you. Minister Billy Kennedy, Western Region 1A. Okay, we'll just continue on. Okay, 15. Minister Beverly Fullerton, Western Region 2A.
Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you. And Provincial Youth President Rachel Heiser.
Present.
Thank you. And Provincial Women's President Darlene Langdon.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, we've got quorum, so let's proceed. Before we took our lunch break, we were on 8.4, amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan preamble to support transition from provincial nonprofit to self-government. And we went through the process of people suggesting friendly amendments. Thank you to policy and legal team that have worked over lunch to consolidate those into a revised draft for consideration by the mover and the seconder. Just for the best use of our time, we'll move right to the annex. And if we can go through the annex change by change, versus reading the whole thing. And so what we're gonna do is, instead of going through every change and then adding from the mover and seconder, if they're okay with it, we're just gonna do it a paragraph at a time to try and save some time. If everybody's okay with that. Okay, sounds good. So the Métis Nation is a distinct Indigenous people with distinctive Métis identity, culture, values, and language. The Métis are distinct from Indians and Inuit pursuant to Section 35 of the Constitution Act 1982. I'm just going to flag that one of the friendly amendments that was made in the previous session was that First Nations be in brackets behind the word Indians so that we're reflective of our present, even though we're referring to the wording in the Constitution. There was a desire to include First Nations in brackets.
Except for that, I think I'm not sure whether or not Dorothy would agree with me or not, but she's actually quoting the Section 35 of the Constitution Act 1982, and she's reflected it in there.
Okay.
So I don't know that it's necessary now to put that in there because she's quoting that section of the Constitution.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, Dorothy, just I'll give you a comment here, but Minister Fullerton said that works for her.
Okay, yeah, and to get away from, what is the appropriate term, we just quoted the Constitution. Thank you, VP.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and are the descendants of the historic Métis who evolved in what is now Western Canada and part of the Northern United States as a people with a common political will and consciousness and history. Okay, so question to the mover, do you accept the proposed friendly amendments in that paragraph? And the mover now is Minister Dignes, as it was changed because Minister Morasti wasn't present at the time.
I am back.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Whichever, I don't know what protocol is when it comes to something like this, but I do believe that I do stay as the mover, do I not?
That would be protocol because at the time that it was read into the record, you were the mover that was present, and so yes, you would remain. So are you okay with the friendly amendments?
I am okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Minister Burnoff, are you okay with friendly amendments in that paragraph?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and we'll move now to the next highlighted change, and it's emploi des outils. Moi? Is that what? What? Okay, what? Okay, so that's own ourselves, and that was just a change to reflect the individual ourselves from the last version, and then further.
Prends soin de nous autres. Is that where we at now?
Mhm.
Yeah, prends soin de nous autres was changed to prends soin.
Digital.
Des autres.
Hmm.
From des autres to nous autres.
Oh,
It's prends soin des autres means taking care of others. Prends soin de nous autres means taking care of ourselves.
okay. Okay, so I guess that's a clarification. So just a quick word from policy. Is it highlighted because it hasn't been changed yet to the wording that elders indicated? Dorothy?
Yes, thank you. We highlighted because it wasn't changed, and we needed to verify with our translator that translated actually this piece for us. So that's why it's just highlighted.
Okay. Okay. Minister Friesen and then Vice President. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. I know in the past we have translated Otipemswak to the people who own themselves. And so that's what I understand, and some citizens understand, because that's how it's been referenced in the past and in other documents. So I would suggest that I've never heard anybody refer to it as our own boss, even though, in conversation, that's how we refer, but in documents, we've never said our own boss. So I would appreciate that we change it back to the people who own themselves, because that's how it translates Otipemswak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Minister. That change is being noted by the team, Vice President.
Just on that note, I agree with Minister Friesen, but why do we have it twice?
So good point. It's in there twice. So Otipemswak is in there twice. So if we can just pull the one from further down.
I don't see,
Yes.
I think it's one is southern midship and the other one is northern. With
But
the
it's-
Pemswak is that's midship,
Mm-hmm.
and the other with the Pemswak is Cree.
But it's spelled the same.
That means the same. But if you didn't know either language, then you wouldn't know that it means the same. That's the difference.
Oh.
That's why they're spelled there, because they're two different spellings, two different languages. That's why they're there.
Okay, and I think it's raised because the spelling is the same on the two.
Yes.
So it's
Okay,
the
so
spelling
once,
amendment.
that's a spelling, so that's not a big problem, it's it's a variation of spelling, we could change that.
Yeah, it's a combination, like it's the similarity between the two. That's what
Okay.
brings us together, whether it's northern or southern, it still means the same thing.
The Pimshoak, I would say in my language, with the Pimshoak and Cree with the Pimsoak.
Hmm.
Okay.
And Laura would know that.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I can
Yes,
explain stuff.
please.
With the Beamswak is Northern Michif, so the E should be at I macron, like a double E. But we use macrons in Northern Michif, so the Beamswak, instead of with the Beamswak. No, not that one. The one, the Northern Michif. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
The last one is Cree. But I was
Okay.
also wondering why we have to have Cree there when
I think it was just to remain consistent with the
No, it's
the other version.
it's taking into account regards to there's Dene Cree, Dene Métis, there's Anishinaabe Cree, there's
that's
Prairie, there's Swampy Cree. It's just respecting and knowing that there's different dialects and different tribes, so if you want to use that,
Okay.
so it's okay.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so with that change then, Mister, the change is to the first Otipemswak, it's double E.
well, I prefer an I macron because that's what we use with Northern Michif. An I, and then you insert the symbol to make the line on there with the Beamswak.
Okay,
Which if you don't
Ah.
use vowel system, and we use it consistently with other linguistic groups and First Nations. We have just a double vowel system with no accent aigu, accent grave in French. We don't use that. We just use the regular double vowel system, and we the Roman orthography. We use that the symbol of we don't use e like Lee. We say Lii. We don't use like Bruce Lee, Lee.
Yeah, but this is Northern Michif, it's different, yeah. So you can go to insert symbol and put the macron there.
okay.
Yeah, if you're on Word. Yeah, it's very easy to do.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
If I can ask, the question on, where's that, Utipi Mishwak or Utipi Mishwak, it's a no? That's what I'm accustomed to in regards when we write our creed. Utipi Mishwak, not Utipi Mishwak.
Yeah, wak is the right word.
Put a no on. Yeah, thank you.
Got to pay mishoyak. Yeah, one's a noun and then one's a verb. The first one's a verb.
Okay. Okay, so we've got that.
So it's really hard, yeah.
I know, and what I will caution is we will spend the entire afternoon going through this exercise this way. So we'll provide the notes and then we'll leave it to the policy team to get the grammar in there. So we're gonna move forward and we're gonna move to the next change in that paragraph, which is the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan has the existing inherent right to self-determination and has been governing itself for generations through the laws of the prairie, including the laws of Saint Laurent, the laws of the Buffalo Hunt, the Manitoba Act proposed by the Riel Provincial Government, and Louis Riel, the first premier of the province of Manitoba. The addition here is all of the legislation enacted by the MNLA since 1993 and bylaws and constitutions for Métis representative organizations in Saskatchewan. Question to the mover, do you accept the friendly amendments?
I do.
Yes, I do. Yeah, as a seconder.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next changes. Affirm that elders are our knowledge keepers and serve as the voice to carry our history, and children are our future. So This one here is, there was something mentioned earlier in the last session from the provincial youth president that wherever it says children, that we replace it with children and youth. Was that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if we could just specify children and youth. Okay, Dorothy,
Okay, in this, in this context, this statement, because we're talking about elders and knowledge keepers, and in terms of their typical or reference when they mention children is it references inclusivity of all generations of all ages. So that's the context of this statement. And so we added this in this regard, the reference to children is inclusive of all generations. It doesn't exclude anybody, it's inclusive. So that's a context of that. And most elders, when they talk about, the future generations, they include everyone who's yet to come.
okay, so I think what we need to do is I need to turn to the council member that suggested the revision to see if that's acceptable.
No.
It's not? Okay, so your previous request stands?
Yes.
Okay, can we get the revision to state children and youth? Then I'll ask the mover and seconder to make their decision.
And then hold children and youth at the center.
Okay. Okay, so the new wording is affirm that elders are our knowledge keepers and serve as the voice to carry our history, and children and youth are our future. The Métis Nation-Saskatchewan will hold children and youth at the center. Question to the mover, do you accept the friendly amendment?
So, thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Minister Burnoff, do you accept the friendly amendment?
I guess we can debate this forever, because I was okay with the children because it's the act of relativity.
Yeah.
But if you want to be literal and exact, then yes, it's okay.
Okay, thank you, ministers. Okay, moving on. The next paragraph with changes. In order to achieve these objectives in 1993, we reestablished a strong and revitalized government within the province of Saskatchewan, involving all sectors within our society, and we continue this process through self-government. I guess question to the mover, are you okay with do you accept the friendly amendments as written?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Question to the seconder, do you accept the friendly amendments as written?
Yes.
You. Okay, we'll move to the next ones. Okay, so these are the articles pertaining to the rights of citizens. And Article 2 has been changed to the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan undertakes to respect and ensure the rights of all individuals within the nation, and subject to its jurisdiction without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, language, religion, political, or other opinions. Question to the mover, do you accept the friendly amendments as written?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I do.
Thank you. Question to the seconder, do you accept the friendly amendments as written?
If we have gender identity, then we don't really need sex
Was just gonna say that.
in there. Yeah, so we can cross that off. Sex.
Okay, so we did have feedback come in from a member of the community, of that community, who did say that they are different. And so it was actually former youth president Autumn Lang LaRose, who's with us today virtually, who did provide advice that the two terms within the broader LGBTQ++ community are actually used differently. And so that was where the advice came from. I guess, does that change your position, Minister? Or would you like it as you stated?
I suppose if it makes it clearer, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Then that one is good. Let's move on to, okay. So there was note on 6 and 7, which is about citizen mobility. And it was just kind of clarified that those statements exist in the current constitution, and they're existing rights for Métis citizens, and there's no proposal to change that. And so hope that clarifies the concerns raised by Minister Montgrand and Secretary Hansen. So moving on from that one, we get down to, okay, this is a proposed amendment to existing language that provides for entitlement. If they choose to pursue M&S citizenship, this statement is factually true and legal analysis confirms no revision is required. And so every Métis child born of a Métis person is entitled to be registered as a citizen of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. So the position that was raised in the last session before lunch was that it's not entirely factually correct, perhaps, because if a child has Métis and status parentage and is eligible for status and receives their status, then our existing Citizenship Act does not allow for people to be double registered. And so that was the comment that was provided, and I see Dorothy's hand up here, so I'm gonna turn it to Dorothy.
Entitlement simply really refers to a question of choice of the in this situation, if it's a child, that they would choose either to be registered as a Métis citizen, or if they have a parent that's First Nations, that they can choose to be registered as a First Nation. So that's really what this speaks to, is that it is a question of choice on the part. It's not anything to do with the double citizenship or dual citizenship.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, Dorothy. Vice President Leclerc, I believe that was one of the points that you had raised, so I'll turn it over to you. Are you okay with that explanation? Or that clarification, I should say.
I suppose. I mean, I guess we have legislation that would sort of clarify that in terms of the Citizenship Act. But if you have conflict of laws, so you've got a conflict between the legislation and the Constitution, you know that the Constitution supersedes that particular legislation. Taken literally, you might argue that my child is entitled to Métis citizenship regardless of whether or not they've taken their parents have registered them as under the Indian Act. So I don't know. I mean, I think that that's something that could potentially become an issue in the future in the courts. I'm just saying.
Would you be comfortable if we were to then proceed with that language, but request a more detailed legal opinion or analysis prior to MNLA.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with that. And I get Dorothy's point. But because of the conflicts in law potentially, this could be argued one way or the other.
Okay,
So
Okay.
let them look at it. I would be comfortable with that.
okay, is that something that can happen? Yep. Okay.
I'd like to say that I've come across certain individuals that are a certain age that can make a decision to be or not to be. And the father and mother had a very hard time giving advice to their child, but old enough to make a decision. So I talked to her, it was a, you know, and I said, you have to make up your own mind. The spirit of who you are, how you're connected, you get to make that choice. So, and the other thing is INAC through the of First Nations Registry. When you sign on, there's no way you can leave. But when you have a Métis card, you can leave. Nobody stops you from not leaving. But I believe there's more in-depth kind of research that needs to be done in order for us to get ready to that part. Because hearing now that maybe that First Nations can step out of that treaty card. But again, that's way ahead, but it's always nice to be able to discuss it and hopefully be prepared in regards to what not necessarily our position, but an explanation could be. And as it develops and more of these kind of events happen or individual people making decisions, it needs to be, we need to know where we can go, what options we may have.
Okay, okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, President. So I guess, yeah, with that being said, that's.
Hello?
Dorothy,
Matt?
yeah.
Sorry to interject, Mr. Chair. We can add, just because in the interest of moving forward, we can add entitled to choose to be registered as a citizen of the MNS. We can add that if that helps.
Okay. Okay, Kate, we will float that. And so question to the mover, are you okay with that? Well, actually, sorry, before I do that, Vice President, somebody has to suggest the friendly amendment from the
Right.
council. So would you be okay with that friendly amendment to choose after entitled?
I think I would feel more comfortable if we got an opinion, as you had suggested, before the legislative assembly.
Okay.
And then the mover and the seconder can, I mean, I could ask for a friendly amendment if it's in the positive.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let's just leave it at that for now.
Okay.
And then have legal look at it and then we can chat about it before the legislative assembly. How about that?
Okay, yeah, the team is committed to doing that, so. Okay, so we will move to, I'm just gonna see here. Affiliates, so, sorry, every Métis person, 19. There's a note in there, the comment prior was, should it say MNS citizens? And so the note is, this is stated in the current constitution. Changing to MNS citizen is a significant change as it exists in several locations and requires further in-depth analysis. And so just clarification from policy and legal, is the recommendation then that this change be considered in a future round of revisions? Dorothy Mayo, Deputy Chief.
Well, I think that a couple things here. This requires it appears in probably 30 plus locations throughout the Constitution and other legislation, so requires in-depth work to really understand the meaning in the context that it's used in various parts of the Constitution. Secondly, that we're recommending no change, but that's the best advice we can give on this one. And also that any change of this magnitude, I think, and it's pretty significant, I think would require constitutional reform engagements to discuss it further.
Okay, thank you, Dorothy. Vice President, I'll turn it over to you to determine if you want it to go back for further analysis or want to proceed with the request for amendment.
I think further analysis, but to be clear, is that a true statement? Does every Métis person have the right to, for example, access all public services offered through the Métis Nation affiliates? Is that a true statement?
Not right now.
Okay. Does every Métis citizen, are they able to take part in the conduct of public affairs directly or through freely chosen representatives? Can they vote?
So,
Can they vote?
no.
No. So is that a true statement?
Based on our constitution, it is.
But it's not based on resolutions.
So which one's in conflict?
Which one's in conflict? And that's what I'm saying. If we're gonna do something like this,
Resolution.
let's
Yeah.
do it properly,
So this one's correct then. Because it's based on what the constitution says.
based on the Constitution, but that's not true. Not every Métis citizen can vote. Not every Métis citizen has access to public services.
But that's what is in conflict with the constitution, because the
That's right.
constitution says they can.
So you've got, again, a conflict of laws. And when you look at conflict of laws, whether it's Canadian Constitution or ours or anyone else's, that's the Lord and Master,
Constitution.
the Constitution. Anything that is in conflict with that, the Constitution supersedes it, trumps it.
And that's right, because it's what's in the constitution.
So everything that we're doing in the public service right now in terms of being able to offer your grandchildren subsidies for daycare or what have you. You have to have a Métis card to prove that. Somebody dies, you need a Métis card. Somebody needs medical help, you need a Métis card. None of these things ring true when you think about what the policy is doing. So I guess as a Métis Council and the Legislative Assembly, we have to decide what we're providing in this Constitution versus what we're actually providing on the ground. And that's what I'm saying. There's a conflict here.
Okay, so is this something then, do we have an opportunity to maybe send this back for?
Let's do that and then we can talk about it more.
Okay.
But I just wanted to express
So let's not,
my thoughts on it.
Okay,
are we gonna vote on it?
No.
yeah, cause
No.
so that wording wouldn't change, but the resolution as it stands, you would vote on today. And you'll have a second opportunity because this is constitutional reform. So it's required to go through PMC, MNLA, and ratification at HEA. So the
Yeah.
idea is the advice would come between now and MNLA, and then the same questions would be asked at MNLA, and the advice would be provided. That's what I'm understanding.
Mhm.
Okay,
And it opens up the discussion,
okay.
right?
Okay, well, if that's not a suggestion for amendment, then we've went through them all, so we'll move to the vote. So those are the suggested changes. The mover and the seconder have confirmed that they're open to the friendly amendments. Can we just go to a vote without me reading the whole thing again?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. That helps. We bring up the resolution, the vote, please. Okay, so motion 6, preamble that the PMC approve amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan preamble to support transition from provincial nonprofit to self-government. All in favor? 5. Okay, 5 in favor at 20th Street. Opposed? 1 opposed.
I'd like to say why though. Can I?
I don't know that you usually have an opportunity to say why you're opposed. That's usually in the comments on the front end. And so this is just a quick vote and then tally. Sorry about that, Provincial Secretary.
No.
Abstentions. Okay, can we get the final tally from graphics, please?
Okay. Thank you, Chair. We have 12 in favor, 2 opposed.
12 in favor, 2 opposed. Kate, motion carried. Okay, moving on here, we are going to move to 8.5, amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan to include the Métis judiciary. We can bring that one up. Okay. Amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan for dispute resolution. Whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, Kitaya, Leviemont, elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Council. Whereas in April 2024, the PMC passed a resolution that supported proceeding with 5 priorities for constitutional amendments, which included entrenching the Métis judiciary within the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Constitution, PMC Resolution 240417-02. Whereas the dispute resolution system is essential to ensure that the legislation enacted by the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, MNLA, can be properly enforced, and the PMC and MNLA have directed the development of a mechanism to ensure fair, impartial, and independent hearing of matters of non-compliance that pertain to MNS legislation. PMC Resolution 160729-07, MNLA Resolution 190414-12. Whereas without its own dispute resolution system, the MNS government must rely on colonial courts to decide on matters arising under its own legislation, where remedies are often punitive, adversarial, and not aligned with Métis distinction. Whereas embedding the authority to create dispute resolution systems within the Constitution is a decisive act of self-determination, reinforcing the MNS's authority to legislate and uphold its laws through a justice system that reflects Métis distinction and restorative principles. Whereas the PMC acknowledges that this constitutional entrenchment is an important step toward the development of a distinct Métis dispute resolution system for matters pertaining to the Constitution, MNS legislation, and between Métis individuals. Whereas the PMC passed a resolution at their duly convened meeting on October 15th, 2024, supporting constitutional amendments which affirmed within the Constitution MNS's authority and jurisdiction to create courts, tribunals, or other entities, mechanisms, or processes to resolve disputes related to the Constitution, MNS legislation, or between Métis individuals included in Annex A, PMC Resolution 241015-10. Whereas the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly Act 1999 requires constitutional amendments be supported by resolution of the PMC or by the signatures of 5 members of the MNLA, ensuring that the amendments are filed 30 days prior to the MNLA or 14 days prior to the MNLA if the minimum of 30 days notice of the MNLA is provided. Whereas the PMC continues to support the constitutional amendments included as Annex A and desires that they should again be brought to the MLA for approval and to a General Assembly for ratification. Therefore, be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council supports the proposed constitutional amendments, affirming MNS's authority and jurisdiction to create courts, tribunals, or other entities, mechanisms, or processes to resolve disputes related to the Constitution, MNS legislation, or between Métis individuals included in Annex A attached to this resolution. Further, be it resolved, the PMC directs that the proposed amendments be included in the order of the day for the next sitting of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly in accordance with the procedural requirements of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly Act 1999, and recommends that the amendments be ratified at a future General Assembly to be called by the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly. Dated this 28th day of October 2025, moved by Brennan Morasti, Northern Region 3, seconded by Loretta King, Western Region 1. Minister Morasti, do you so move?
Good afternoon. I do support this resolution, but I have one small change based on a letter. So if do I speak to it now or after Minister King decides?
Yes, you would need to speak to it now before the seconder affirms.
All right. So good afternoon, colleagues. As the minister responsible for self-determination, self-government, and justice, I'm excited to inform you that the work on our governance treaty has continued with Canada. We have received a letter a few weeks back, which our legal team has provided a briefing to me on, and they have a willingness, a mandate to move forward on a governance treaty with the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. In saying that, part of the conversation is not about Métis courts. They would like to use language around administration of justice, which is fitting, either or, so we are looking at that, and as well as a claims process. So in saying all of that, on the last there be it resolved, I'd like to change MNS's authority and jurisdiction to create an administration of justice and take out courts.
Okay.
That friendly amendment, and then I so move.
Okay, thank you, Minister. And we'll move to the seconder just as soon as that's done. Okay, there we go. Minister King, do you so second?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Okay, we will now take questions from the floor. So. Oh. Sorry. We may need to read an appendix as well.
We do.
You do? Okay. Okay.
Not that long.
Okay.
You can breathe.
Yeah. Okay, the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Constitution relating to the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly is amended by deleting Article 2.3 and substituting the following. 3, the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly has the jurisdiction and authority A, to govern the affairs and conduct of the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan by adopting resolutions, rules, and directives, making proclamations, and enacting legislation in relation to any matter. B, to establish courts, tribunals, or other entities, mechanisms, or processes to resolve disputes relating to compliance with this Constitution, the validity, interpretation, application, or alleged violation of legislation enacted by the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly or policies adopted by the Métis Nation Saskatchewan, or disputes between or involving Métis individuals. 3.1, any Métis entities, processes, or mechanisms established pursuant to Article 2.3b must be independent and impartial and must result in competent and fair decisions. Okay. So I'm just going to pose a question to the mover. Based on your changes to the resolution, do you require a change on this appendix?
Yes, sir. As stated earlier, words matter, so change all wording from courts to administration of justice.
Okay. Okay, we could make that change on the fly here. Okay, so it now says to establish administration of justice systems. Yes. So I guess I'll go to the seconder now. Do you accept the friendly amendment as posed?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Minister. Okay, so now we can, I'll put you first on the list, Vice President. So moving into questions, Vice President, please.
Well, if you're doing administration of justice systems, is tribunal superfluous? Like, do you need that? Isn't that part of the administration of justice?
Yeah, that's a good question. So is that a friendly amendment you're proposing?
Yeah, I mean, there's no need for it.
Okay, Vice President Leclerc is posing a friendly amendment to remove tribunals as well as she's indicated they should be included in administration of justice. I see the mover giving a thumbs up, but I'll just have to ask you, mover, do you accept the friendly amendment as stated?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Seconder, do you accept the friendly amendment as stated?
I do, yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that would just be the removal of tribunals on the resolution and the appendix. And I see Dorothy's hand up. Dorothy?
Yes, thank you. If you're removing tribunals, you might as well remove then other entities as well.
Okay, I saw a nod from Vice President Leclerc here as well. So I see legal, Hillary, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I would just add that although I agree that tribunals is included in administration of justice systems, just for clarity, I wonder if we want to say including tribunals and then the list, if that's what we're theorizing being the type of administration of justice systems, that may be helpful to just keep that in there for clarity to both, us as we're drafting our legislation, but also to the readers of this in the future, that these were the types of mechanisms that we were envisioning under administration of justice systems.
Okay, so would it be the removals were tribunal and other, and there was an other entities, or was it entities? And so would we just be adding back tribunals, or is it including tribunals or other entities?
Sorry, I'm just having an issue with my computer.
Okay, okay, I see Dorothy's hand up as well. Dorothy, did you have something to add here?
Yeah, and I think one of the things we have to be mindful of when we use the same language as Canada in terms of how they define justice systems, and that's why I actually agree with Hillary's statement to include tribunals and other entities, because we don't have their definition of administration of justice systems is very different from what the Métis perspective is.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'll turn it over to Vice President Leclerc just based on those comments. Do you want to accept those suggestions?
Yeah, I understand that, but are we going to list Like there's all sorts of things that are involved in the administration of justice, not just courts or tribunals. Who knows where we're gonna go with it? Sentencing circles, correctional services, representing women over incarcerated. I mean, the list could be that big. And I guess, is that what they mean by and other? I just think it's superfluous. Like, what's the point of it? But if you want to leave it, I mean, I'm not gonna flog a dead horse.
Yeah, well, it's your decision. You're the one proposing the amendment, but I do see Dorothy. Maybe Dorothy, do you want to provide any additional advice there before the VP makes her decision? Oh, I think you're on mute, Dorothy.
Oh, hi. Thank you. I think it's an important point that our definition of administration of justice is very different from any other governments like the provincial federal government, and that the tribunals and other entities, I think, does include all of the things that Vice President referenced that we can do, because these are all things that we want to create dispute mechanisms that are not the same as what exists out there, because they simply have not worked for Indigenous people. So I think we're trying to include things that would be flexible enough for us to include.
Okay, thank you, Dorothy. President Callum, you wanted to.
For me, there's all kinds of opinions in regards to where we should be, what we should do, what we have to take into account. For me, the impression of I worked in what you mentioned, dangerous offender, alternative measures, all these different things. I have put a gray area around Indigenous law, or Indigenous space, or actions, or intent. So for me, are we muddying the water to be able to be very specific to establish administration of justice? And then when you get into systems within our own government, but systems such as tribunals or other entities, really allowed open conversation in regards to what could be out there. And all of a sudden, if you're talking to assimilated individuals with the federal government or provincial government, actually give them a door to be able to have an opinion instead of being supported the direction we've chosen in our justice.
Thank you, Elder Fleury.
Yeah, what this brings to my mind is we use that word distinction, and we have our fundamental rights, we have our historical rights, and if we want to be specifically a distinct people under Section 35, we have to have a cultural component built into it. And if you don't have a cultural component, like we're talking about sentencing circles, that's happened many, many years ago in 1975 when I worked for the Dakota Ojibwe Tribal Council. We talked about our own systems because the systems out there weren't really working for us. So for me, and I'm sure I speak for the other elders that are very linguistically based, culturally based, and we've lived both systems. And if we're going to create a justice type system for ourselves, let's not forget that we are our own people, own nation. That when we speak about, we've had already made recommendations here based on the laws of the hunt, the laws, our traditional laws. Well, this year, and we did talk about tribunal before at one time, and that kind of went on the wayside, and we're bringing it back to the table. And I don't know if it's corral plates now or metal plates we're using, but we have a system that we're building. Let's not forget that we are the system, that we are building our own system. And let's not be colonially thinking about processes. Let's think about our own processes. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder. I just, so I'm recognizing that we're actually not even into the question portion of the resolution because the mover is still amending their original resolution. And we are kind of going down a bit of a rabbit hole. I think it's been good conversation. So
Can I just clarify something?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm fine. If that's the way we want to go. I think it covers it. I just didn't understand why we had to like sort of, if we're gonna say tribunals, say other things as well. But anyway, it's fine. But we have done a whole lot of work and I'm gonna challenge you to say what the word is for our judiciary. Can't say it properly. How do you say it? We asked.
Yeah.
I think going to our elder's point,
We
yeah, we've not
Yeah,
mentioned it in the resolution or in this piece of it. And I think that's really important because our team and Marilyn spent a lot of time, we've spent a lot of money on that. Say it again. Yeah, so we've named it and the name is not in here. So that's the only, I guess, thing that I would, ask to have included in here. And I'm good with the other stuff. I'll leave that.
okay, thank you, Vice President. And Secretary Hansen, you've been patiently waiting, and I do want to acknowledge you right now because you are
Sorry,
on the
Marlene.
list. No, it's okay. No, that's fine. We got a little bit off track, but
I'm disappointed myself personally in regards to sending out, this information. And then we're basically workshopping it here, I'm feeling, because it's a lot of change. And then it throws everything off. And for myself personally, I'd like to take it and review it because we're dealing with the Constitution and like you said, our system. This is our system. And there has been tons of work for sure. But at the end of the day, now all of this is coming in and it's changing everything. And we really aren't taking the time to really process, at least for myself. And we're making huge decisions here that have to be made. However, do they have to be made right now because of this change? Because you go somewhere, you realize the wording is changed at the Canada level, the national level, and then we have our chief executive officer, whatever, for saying no. This is still different. So there's lots of confusion at the table for me anyway. And especially when we're trying to make sure that we're aligning it with our constitution, the PMC, our body, and making sure that the people are comfortable with this. And to me, it's just like this morning, we said there was frustration around the financial part. So I think myself personally, did these resolutions go to the resolution committee prior to coming here?
so
They did?
So what you will see here, and thank you for the feedback. So what we're going through today are things that have been through the resolutions committee that meet all the requirements to submit a resolution for constitutional reform to the assembly. The goal of the PMC is to review the resolutions and make a decision on approval, after which point, based on that, it'll either be advanced to the MLA or. And I'm just going to get us back on track here. I think just for order, because anybody could call point of order at any time right now, and they'd be right. So where we ended up was the minister is the mover. And you wanted to revise the language in situ. So Minister, what I'm going to ask you to do is to finalize that revision to the language, just state it as you want it. We'll have the seconder affirm whether or not they agree with the revision to the language. We'll open the floor to questions again. And then people can provide further comment at that time. We just need to get back on track in terms of process. So, Minister Morasti, if I can ask you to confirm which language you would want on, or you want on that sentence.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as it is written now, that works for me as the mover and as the minister responsible. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can I ask Minister King, do you so second?
Yeah, I'm also good with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to open the floor to questions, and Vice President Leclerc, sorry, Minister Fullerton, you had your hand up before we went in. So Minister Fullerton and then Vice President Leclerc.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I've been watching this, come to the table and the work that's been put into it, and watching, Marilyn and, the past folks at the table pushing this forward. So this is nothing new, which I appreciate. I'm seeing it here today because I do support this, and I would like to see us getting that work moved ahead, so we're not finding ourselves in situations that we are finding ourselves within right now. In order to get the work done, you need to be able to, govern ourselves, and, if there's issues going on, having a system in place. Obviously, it's not going to be functional tomorrow, but we need to bring this to the MNLA so we can show that we have a lot of work to do, and we need to be governing ourselves and addressing the issues and moving our government forward in a good way. And so I do just want to clarify, so I'm looking for here. I know the words can get wordy, but as my passion too is, the social justice piece, that we're not confusing that with those. Or that's a long road ahead of us. So not jumping into trying to manage challenging the provincial laws or municipal laws like this. We need to have some clarity there when we're talking about what this course eventually look like. But first, I think we need to have something in space for our MNLA, our PMC, and the way that we do things at this space. So I am in support of this resolution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Minister. Vice President?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I am in support of this motion. And to your point, Marlene, this was actually at our last MNLA. We never got to any of the constitutional changes. There has been a lot of work. What this is meant to do is to allow for the development of a administration of justice or a judiciary or whatever we're going to call it. It's just sort of the foundation, even though there is a reference to a tribunal or judiciary in our preamble that it exists now. This allows for the work to be done, and a lot of work is already done. As I said, a lot of money has been spent on it. So I'm in support of this motion. And the other thing it does is when we support something like this, it allows for the Legislative Assembly to look at it, to discuss it, to think about it, to see whether or not it's palatable. They're the end all and be all of our legislation. And so I just wanted to comment that I support this motion.
Okay, thank you, Vice President. Okay, and moving on to Secretary Hansen.
I thought you were just gonna pass me.
No, not this time. No, sorry about that.
Like I said, and I've heard that, it was there, it didn't make it to the table at the last November MNLA. And so we'll never really, we can't speak to that. But it was also mentioned that they went to the resolution committee prior to coming here. So it couldn't have come from the last or did they just switch it to Brennan now because the movers? Because if they just switched it, Brennan wouldn't have sent it forward last year. And then why aren't the rest of the resolutions here if these are gone too? Like we just asked this morning if we could bring a resolution, and they said it wasn't emergent, but that should be here at the table too.
Okay, yeah, Vice President.
I think I could speak to
Respond?
that
Yeah.
a little bit. That when these motions were brought forward, these resolutions were brought forward last time.
Yeah,
I believe it was Secretary McCallum and I who had proposed the resolutions. We had made them, seconded them, and we no longer have Secretary McCallum here. I'm no longer the Minister of Justice, but these were tabled.
yeah.
They weren't, they were tabled from November, right? This November. And so they're essentially the same resolutions, other than we're making some, obviously today, administration of justice instead of courts, that kind of thing. So they were before the Legislative Assembly. Unfortunately, in November, we never got to them.
Okay, thank you, Vice President, for the clarification. I see Hillary, your hand is up from legal. I'm just gonna ask you to respond if you had anything that you wanted to add.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm just, everything that VP had just provided with respect to the resolutions being tabled last November, I agree with and affirm. And yes, to answer Secretary Hansen's question about has the resolution committee looked at these? Yes, we have, but we didn't make any changes because these have already previously been approved by PMC and were put forward to the MNLA. So we left them as is, and that's why you're seeing more revisions, is that we wanted to bring you what was already approved because it was tabled. And with that, I do have a suggestion for change language. It's significant, but it's with respect to the portion that's already been edited. But I will, just for the interest of time, I won't put that forward right now.
Okay, thank you, Hillary. Treasurer Denemy.
I guess I'm in support of this resolution. I think it enhances our constitution, and so I speak in favor of it. Call a question.
Okay, thank you, Treasurer Denemy. Question's been called, so we rules for the PMC are that we continue the speaker list. Is that correct? Just looking for clarification from Grasswoods.
Chair, that rule would not be explicitly stated in that way, so I believe you have the discretion whether to continue the list or to stop it now.
Okay, well, we have 2 speakers left on the list, so let's just keep going. But what we might have to do in the next resolution is enforce the
You're the chair.
2-minute rule. Okay.
You just told me that's the advice you got.
Okay.
So it's all on you.
Minister Friesen, the floor is yours.
You trying to put it on us.
Mr. Friesen.
Okay, Minister Friesen. Okay. Okay, I don't see Minister Friesen, so we're going to move on to Lafita Medellin President Darlene Lang.
Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry, Chair. I was in agreement. I agree with calling question. That's what I was going to do, call question, but Denemy already did, so.
Okay, thank you, Minister. Lafita Medellin President Darlene Langen, you have final word.
Thank you. I just have a question. So with this article, now, are we repealing Articles 2 and 3 of the Constitution, which is the MNLA, and 3 is the PMC? Like, to me, the way, I could be wrong, but to me, the way I understand it, that is, we're trying to get rid of the MNLA and the PMC?
Okay, thank you for that question. So just for clarification, it's Article 2-3. So it's in Article 2, paragraph number 3 is what it is. So it's just the one paragraph and it's replacing it with this.
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying that.
You're welcome. Okay, questions are closed for this item. Let's move to a vote. Okay, motion 7, Métis dispute resolution system, that the PMC approves amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan for a Métis dispute resolution system. All in favor? We've got 5 in the room here. And opposed? And abstentions? Okay, we've got 1 abstention. And we'll just wait for the final count from Grasswoods.
Thank you, Chair. We have 12 in favor, 0 opposed, 1 abstention.
Okay, that was great. Motion carried. Okay, let's move forward. So again, we are behind time. So we're going to implement the 2-minute rule. And so basically the 2-minute rule is in the rules for the PMC already. And it's just each time you speak, you've got 2 minutes to kind of state your position, and hopefully that'll get us caught up. I'd be very wishful and said that, but okay, we are at item 8.6. Amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan for a provincial election for women and youth representative to PMC. So if we could pull up that resolution. Okay, it'll be pulled up, and in the meantime, in the interest of time, I'm just going to start reading it. And I think the issue might be we've still got the poll up on our screen, and it's covering the resolution below. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So, whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Council, PMC. Whereas in April 2024, the PMC passed a resolution that supported proceeding with 5 constitutional amendment priorities, which included the election of provincial representatives for women and youth to be included in the Provincial Métis Nation-Saskatchewan general election every 4 years within the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Constitution, PMC Resolution 240417-02. Whereas in 2021, the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Legislative Assembly supported establishing of province-wide ballot box elections for women and youth representatives, and referred the item to the constitutional reform process. MNLA Resolution 211128-02. Whereas the preamble to the Constitution confirms that every Métis person has the right to take part in the conduct of public affairs directly through freely chosen representatives. And the inclusion of women and youth on the MNS general election ballot ensures that these voices are not only heard, but empowered through democratic mandate. Whereas the PMC passed a resolution at their duly convened meeting on October 15th, 2024, which supported the amendments to the Constitution for the election of provincial representatives for women and youth to the PMC and the provincial MNS election every 4 years, included as Annex A, PMC Resolution 241015-09. Whereas the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly Act 1999, MNLA Act, requires constitutional amendments to be supported by resolution of the PMC or by the signatures of 5 members of the MNLA, ensuring that the amendments are filed 30 days prior to the MNLA or 14 days prior to the MNLA if the minimum 30 days notice of the MNLA is provided. Whereas in accordance with the MNLA Act, the constitutional amendments for the election of provincial representatives for women and youth to the PMC and the provincial MNS election every 4 years was included in the order of the day for the November 2024 MNLA, but was not considered by the Assembly. And whereas the PMC continues to support the constitutional amendments included as Annex A and desires that they should again be brought to the MNLA for approval and to a General Assembly for ratification, therefore be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council, PMC, supports the resolution and amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan in order to provide for the election of youth and women representatives to the Provincial Métis Council in the Provincial Métis Nation-Saskatchewan general election every 4 years, set out in Annex A attached to this resolution, and further be it resolved that the PMC directs that the proposed amendments be included in the order of the day for the next sitting of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly in accordance with the procedural requirements of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly Act 1999, and recommends that the amendments be ratified at a future General Assembly to be called by the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, dated this 28th day of October 2025, moved by Rachel Frericks, President, Provincial Métis Youth Council, seconded by Mark Friesen, Eastern Region 3. Maybe we'll read the appendix before we get confirmation from the movers. Annex A, Constitution amended. 1. The Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Constitution is amended as set out in this annex in order to provide for the election of women and youth representatives to the Provincial Métis Council. Article 3 amended. Article 3 relating to the Provincial Métis Council is amended by deleting Article 3.1 and substituting the following. 1. The Provincial Métis Council is composed of A. The regional representatives, B. The members of the executive, C. A Métis woman to represent Métis women who is elected in a province-wide election held every 4 years, and D. A Métis youth, D. A Métis youth to represent Métis youth between the ages of 16 and 29 who is elected in a province-wide election held every 4 years. Article 8 amended. 3. Article 8 relating to elections is amended by A. Deleting Article 8-1 and B. Deleting Article 8-2 and substituting the following. 2. Election for the executive regional representatives and the women and youth representatives to the Provincial Métis Council shall be held within 4 years of the previous election. Article 12 amended. 4. Article 12 relating to the Senate Women and Youth is amended by deleting the heading and substituting Article 12, Women and Youth, deleting Articles 12-1, 12-2, and 2.1, and substituting the following. 1. The Métis Nation Legislative Assembly shall involve women and youth in the determination of their role and responsibilities within the Métis Nation Saskatchewan. 2. The Métis women of Saskatchewan shall be designated 4 seats in the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly. This provision shall cease to apply when women have achieved equitable representation in the Provincial Métis Council and Métis Nation Legislative Assembly. 2.1. The Provincial Métis Youth Council shall be designated 4 seats at the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly. Okay, so now going back to the mover and the seconder. Previous page.
I do have a change.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So if we can go stay at that page, that'd be great.
Okay, the mover has changed.
So, there we go. Keep going down a little bit long. Yep. Okay, so it'd be Article 12, number 4, number 2. So the Métis women of Saskatchewan. I would like to delete this provision shall cease to apply when women have achieved equitable representation in the Provincial Métis Council and the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly. It's important to have our women included, no matter what. If equitable representation is achieved, it's still there needs to be women representatives at that table to have gender inclusivity and just women's rights and issues at the forefront of their work instead of just being sometimes it's spread amongst different things. Having women representation at the table is very important. So I think that last part of number 2 shall needs to go.
And then another thing is with our election rules, for the PMYC, we do state that the oldest that person running for youth president can be is 26. So that there is a thing saying that you have to be 16 to 29. There is an issue of when like if someone turns 30 in their last couple months of their term, that there could be a problem with that as well. So yeah, those are my things. And then if President Langen wants to comment on this, because this is affecting them, and then also having La Fille de Madeleine incorporated in some part, like the Métis Nation women, yes, but it's La Fille de Madeleine, so that needs to be referenced somewhere as well in this. Thank you.
Okay, okay, so those notes on amendment, I just want to see if our policy team has heard all of those suggestions and if there's any additional info that policy or legal requires prior to drafting those amendments.
Chair, I would first recommend that you turn it to the seconder to provide comment before I begin drafting.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good. So for all the folks who have their hands up, I'm compiling a speakers list, but we won't get to the speakers list until the mover and seconder have completed their work here. So moving to the mover, Minister Friesen, based on the proposed amendments that Rachel has stated, are you agreeable to those friendly amendments?
No, I'm not. No, and I'd like to speak to it, please. So on number 2, the first amendment, the provision, I prefer that the provision exist for the simple fact that we need to ensure that there's equitable representation. So I would not be in favor of removing that. And the other amendment that La Fille de Madeleine be in this constitutional amendment, I do not support that because La Fille de Madeleine is an entity of its own. It is not a affiliate of Métis Nation-Saskatchewan, number 1. And number 2, they don't represent all Métis women in Saskatchewan. So I am not in favor of including La Fille de Madeleine in this constitutional amendment. I think it's necessary that we have, that's why my name is as a seconder, to have a provincial election to represent for a women's representative, but I don't believe that La Fille de Madeleine should be included in that, although they do consider themselves representatives. So that remains to be seen. That's my comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Minister. Based on those comments, I have to go back to the mover. I've got you on the list, Treasurer. You have a seconder. Your seconder isn't willing to.
Can I request a new seconder, please?
I don't know that you can because the seconder hasn't withdrawn and they're not absent.
Okay.
You know, the seconder, actually, it's 2:30. I require legal advice on how this works. And so we have a break coming up anyway. Let's just take 15 minutes here and we'll get some advice on how this works because I want to make sure that we get it right. So, okay. Thank you. We're on break for the next 15 minutes. We're back here from the afternoon break. So thank you for your patience. We did need some legal advice on the item before us, and the specific advice that we required from the legal and policy team is when we've got a resolution that's drafted and comes forward for constitutional amendment, and then we get it to this table for consideration, and there were proposed amendments made by the mover, and the seconder did not agree to the amendments. So we've got, a mover and a seconder who are not aligned on the resolution as presented. And so without the two-way acceptance and without anybody withdrawing from the motion or the resolution, sorry, then the only option that we have at this point is to say if there is an alignment, if nobody's withdrawing, then the resolution will have to just be withdrawn from this agenda if alignment isn't possible. And so that's the legal advice that I received on the break. I guess I'll just turn it back to Hillary. Did I get that right, or did I miss anything?
Yeah, I would just refer, thank you, Chair. I would just refer to Rule 38 of your rules, of the PMC meeting rules. And that's what we're referring to in this advice. That's the authority of our advice.
Okay, thank you. And so knowing that, receiving the advice, and knowing that we have a lot of items on the agenda, I would turn it back to the mover to just determine if you're resolute in those suggested amendments. We can't go to any speakers yet until we get through this, because this might be withdrawn. But are you resolute in the amendments that you'd like, or are you willing to shift on those in alignment with the seconder? I'm just curious.
I'm willing to shift, but only on certain aspects. And then if we can just have that conversation with the seconder and myself,
Okay.
and kind of come to a compromise between the both of us.
Okay, then what I'm going to do in the interest of time, we're going to just table this resolution for now until the end of MNLA resolutions. And so it will become, it'll go after 8.11, and it'll be 8.11A, we'll call it, or whatever, in this agenda, and we'll come back to it. And I would encourage you and the seconder to make contact with each other in the next 2 hours to try and talk about that. But yeah, in the interest of time, we're going to move forward in the agenda. Okay.
Can I say something?
We just don't have a live.
Please just allow me to say something. We have an elder here.
Yes.
We have another elder here. We have an impasse between the mover and the seconder. This is a super important issue. When we're talking about women's parity, we're talking about half of the people that are incarcerated in the federal jails are Indigenous women. When we're talking about parity, we're talking about 75 to 80% of the women incarcerated in our provincial jails are Indigenous women. I think this is a very, very important discussion. And I think for us to try and work this out in a Métis way, we've got two elders here. We're doing this so colonially that why can't they try and hear everybody's voice and mediate this issue? This is an important issue.
I hear what you're saying, and sorry.
Let's go back. I like your, Mr. Chair, thank you, and for your comments. And yes, I'd like to move on to the next items, but leave it open for, we did have a little bit of discussion regarding to the seconder. Jeremy and I had a little conversation with our CEO and our youth president. We had a very good conversation. It's just a matter of the wording and what would be accepted. Again, I go back to saying, in regards to the 8 years that I've been here, it's always been an issue in regards to how the women are part of our group. And this is the time that we put common sense to the whole situation in regards to the resolution being inclusive of within the Elections Act to be able to vote for all people of Saskatchewan that are women and all the youth of our province. We have the opportunity to vote. So I totally agree in regards to the elders sitting in and having that conversation with Mark and the youth president to be able to resolve this. And I like this resolve because I don't want to lose an opportunity again and our people to lose an opportunity again to be able to have the youth and the women not be on the ballot box. This is crucial. Okay, move on.
Okay, thank you, President and Vice President. And so I guess to the mover and seconder, the elders are here today. We've got two elders that are willing to talk with you. And so if you have to slip to have a conversation and want to include the elders in that, then I'd invite you to do that. And it isn't important. This isn't to take away from the importance of it. It's just we've got the rules and the procedures and the agenda that we have to work through. And so okay. With that, we'll move on to item 8.7. Amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan, or Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan to clarify General Assembly article. So if we do that one, we've got, whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan MNS recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, Katayak, Levumo, elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the PMC. Whereas in April 2024, the PMC passed a resolution that supported proceeding with 5 priorities for constitutional amendments, which included changes to General Assembly provisions. So eligibility for voting will be open to all MNS citizens of voting age. PMC Resolution 240417-02. Whereas currently the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Constitution, Article 11, General Assembly, does not clearly outline who can vote at a General Assembly. Whereas the PMC passed a resolution at their duly convened meeting on April 15th, 2024, supporting constitutional amendments for changes to General Assembly provisions. So eligibility for voting will be open to all MNS citizens of voting age, included as Annex A, PMC Resolution 241015-11. Whereas the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly Act 1999, MNLA Act requires constitutional amendments be supported by resolution of the PMC or by the signatures of 5 members of the MNLA, ensuring that the amendments are filed 30 days prior to the MNLA or 14 days prior to the MNLA if the minimum 30 days notice of the MNLA is provided. Whereas, in accordance with the MNLA Act, the constitutional amendments were included in the order of the day for the November 2024 MNLA, but were not considered by the Assembly. And whereas the PMC continues to support the constitutional amendments for changes to General Assembly provisions, so eligibility will be open to all MNS citizens of voting age, included as Annex A, and desires that they should again be brought to MNLA for approval and to a General Assembly for ratification. Therefore, be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council supports the resolution and amendments to the Constitution of Métis Nation-Saskatchewan for changes to General Assembly provisions, so eligibility for voting will be open to all Métis Nation-Saskatchewan citizens of voting age set out in Annex A attached to this resolution. And further be it resolved, the Provincial Métis Council directs that the proposed amendments be included in the order of the day for the next sitting of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, in accordance with the procedural requirements of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly Act 1999, and recommends that the amendments be ratified at a future General Assembly to be called by the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, dated this 28th day of October 2025, and we'll just review the annex. Annex A, Constitution amended. 1, the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Constitution is amended as set out in this schedule. Article 11 replaced. Article 11 relating to the General Assembly is deleted and the following substituted. 1, the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly shall convene a General Assembly annually and when necessary to ratify amendments to this Constitution. 2, The members of the General Assembly are those persons who are Métis citizens registered with the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. Article 15 amended. 3. Article 15 is amended by deleting Article 15-2 and substituting the following. 2. All proposed amendments to the Constitution must be registered with the clerk of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly 30 days prior to the sitting of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, where reasonable advance notice of the Legislative Assembly is provided. Where the minimum 30 days notice is provided under Article 2-8, all proposed amendments must be registered 14 days prior to the sitting of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly. Article 16 amended. 4. Article 16 relating to implementation is deleted and the following substituted. 1. The Constitution is amended is effective when the amendments are approved by the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly and ratified by the General Assembly. And that is it. So going back up to the mover, it was moved by Beverly Fullerton, Western Region 2A, seconded by Brent Dignas, Eastern Region 2A. Minister Fullerton, do you so move?
I still so move.
Okay, thank you. Minister Dignas, do you so second?
So second, Brent Dignas, Eastern Region 2, not 2A.
Oh, sorry about that. Thank you,
No
Minister. Okay, so we'll open the floor to questions from the council on this resolution. Any questions?
I call question.
Okay, thank you, Minister Friesen. Okay, with that, we will move to a vote. If we could pull up the vote, motion 9. Clarify General Assembly articles that the PMC approves amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation Saskatchewan to clarify General Assembly articles. All in favor? Okay. Okay, we've got 4 in favor. Yeah. Yeah, 4. Perfect. We've got 4 in favor here, and how many do we have in total? Turn it over to Grasswoods. 4 at 20th Street. Clarify that.
Okay, I have 11 in favor and 1 abstained.
Okay, and I'll just ask in the room here, any opposed? Abstentions?
I just have a question with this. Well, it's already passed. So okay, I'll see.
Okay, thank you, Treasurer. Okay, with that, motion carried. We'll move on to the next item. 8.8 general cleanup for the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan.
Negotiate that one.
Whereas the Métis Nation Saskatchewan, M&S recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, Katayak, the BMO, elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the PMC. Whereas the Constitution of the Métis Nation Saskatchewan has undergone multiple amendments over time, resulting in fragmented updates that now require comprehensive review to improve the organization, clarity, and coherence of the document as a whole. Whereas in April 2024, the PMC passed a resolution that supported proceeding with 5 constitutional amendment priorities, which included general cleanup, including but not limited to minor changes to grammar, consistency, and removal of 2007 election details. PMC Resolution 240417-02. Whereas a well-structured, clearly articulated, and internally consistent constitution is essential to the integrity of Métis self-government. Whereas the proposed cleanup amendments included as Annex A do not alter the substantive rights or powers within the Constitution, but rather enhance its readability and accessibility. Whereas the PMC passed a resolution at their duly convened meeting on October 15, 2024, supporting the constitutional amendments for general cleanup included in Annex A, PMC 241015-12. Whereas the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly Act 1999, MNLA Act, requires constitutional amendments be supported by resolution of the PMC or by the signatures of 5 members of the MNLA, ensuring that the amendments are filed 30 days prior to the MNLA or 14 days prior to the MNLA if minimum 30 days notice of the MNLA is provided. Whereas in accordance with the MNLA Act, the constitutional amendments for general cleanup were included in the order of the day for the November 2024 MNLA, but was not considered by the Assembly. And whereas the PMC continues to support constitutional amendments for general cleanup included as Annex A, and desires that they should again be brought to MNLA for approval and to a General Assembly for ratification. Therefore, be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council supports the resolution and amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan for general cleanup, including but not limited to minor changes to grammar, consistency, and removal of 2007 election details set out in Annex A attached to this resolution. Further be it resolved, the Provincial Métis Council directs that the proposed amendments be included in the order of the day for the next sitting of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan or Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, in accordance with the procedural requirements of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly Act 1999, and recommends that the amendments be ratified at a future General Assembly to be called by the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly. Dated this 20th day of October 2025. We'll just look at Annex A quickly. Okay, Annex A. Métis Nation-Saskatchewan, an act respecting Métis citizenship. Constitution amended. 1. The Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Constitution is amended as set out in this annex. Article 1 replaced. Article 1 is deleted and the following substituted. Article 1, Title 1. This Constitution may be referred to as the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan Constitution. Article 2 amended. 3. Article 2 relating to the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly is amended by A, adding the following article after 2-2, after Article 2-2. 2.1. The loyalty of the members of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly must be to the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan, and each member shall swear an oath of allegiance prior to taking their seat in the Assembly. Article 3 amended. 4. Article 3 relating to the Provincial Métis Council is amended. A, by deleting the word organization wherever it occurs in Article 3-4, and in each case substituting Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. And B, by deleting Métis Legislative Assembly and substituting Métis Nation Legislative Assembly. Article 4 amended. 5. Article 4 is amended by deleting Article 4-4A and substituting the following. 4A, the President shall be the head of the executive and chief political spokesperson for the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. Article 5 amended. 6. Article 5 is amended by A, deleting Article 5-4 and substituting the following. 4. The regional councils shall establish regional administrative offices that are accessible to the people and leadership. B, deleting Article 5-6 and substituting the following. 6. The regional council shall enact a constitution that is not inconsistent with this constitution and shall file a copy of it and any amendments to it with the clerk of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly. And B, deleting Article 5-10 and substituting the following. 10. The regional council shall provide direction to their representative on the Provincial Métis Council with respect to all matters, including the aims, objectives, and aspirations of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan and for their respective region. Article 7 amended. 7. Article 7 relating to locals is amended by deleting Article 7.1 and substituting the following. 1. The locals are the basic unit of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. B, adding the following articles after Article 7-2. 2.1, an individual shall only belong with one local. 2.2, an individual must have resided in the community where the local is situated for at least 6 months to be eligible for membership in the local although a local may make exceptions for educational and medical purposes. 2.3. A member of a local must be ordinarily resident in the community where the local is situated in order to retain membership in the local. Otherwise, the member must transfer their membership to the local in the community to which they have relocated. 2-4. In communities where no locals exist, Métis persons shall apply to the local nearest their residence. C. By deleting Article 7.6 and substituting the following. 6. Each local shall be governed by a council consisting of a president, vice president, and the number of other members determined in accordance with the constitution of the local, which may include terms of 1 to 3 years, and elections may be by ballot box or conducted at a general meeting of the members of the local. 6.1. Each local shall submit the names of their elected leadership to regional council, the clerk of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, within 30 days of their election. And D, by deleting Articles 7.8 and 7.9 and substituting the following. 8. Each local shall enact a constitution that is not inconsistent with this constitution, including the establishment of portfolios, committees, or other bodies required to address community and other issues, and shall file a copy of it and any amendments to it with the clerk of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly. 9. The local shall provide yearly updates of their membership to the regional council and the clerk of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, separating those members who are under 16 years of age from those 16 and over. Article 9 amended. 8. Article 9 relating to the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan is amended by deleting Articles 9-1 and 9-2 and substituting the following. 1. The seat of government of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan is in Saskatoon. Article 10 amended. 9. Article 10 relating to citizenship is amended by deleting Articles 10-2 to 10-6. Article 13 amended. 10. Article 13 relating to Métis independence is amended by deleting Article 13-1 and substituting the following. 1. Whereas the Métis are in the process of implementing self-government as one of 3 orders of government in Canada, Métis Nation-Saskatchewan shall be non-sectarian and non-partisan. B. Deleting Article 13-2 and deleting Article 13-4 and substituting the following. 4. Members of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan are not precluded from joining political parties of the 2 other orders of government, the federal and the provincial levels of government. Article 14 amended. 11. Article 14 relating to affiliates is amended by deleting Article 14-4 and substituting the following. All affiliates shall have representation from the 12 regions of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan unless otherwise decided by the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly based upon the recommendations of the Provincial Métis Council. Article 17 repealed. 12. Article 17 relating to the 2007 election is deleted. Okay, so going back to the mover and the seconder, Minister Morasti, do you so move?
I so move.
Thank you. Minister Kennedy, do you so second?
I do.
Thank you, Minister. Okay, we will move to questions from the floor. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands up online.
Go right to the front, right to the start of the document.
Okay.
Right to the start.
We could scroll right to the
Right up.
Okay.
Right there. With the second
Okay.
whereas.
Review to improve the organization. Why is that there? So we can explain that.
So what they mean by that is the organization of the documents. Like, you know how things are. They don't mean organization as an entity. They mean how it's organized, how the constitution's organized, or the documents organized. So
Can there be another word?
well, we'd have to propose a friendly amendment. But another word for that is structure. In terms of structure, clarity, and coherence of the document as a whole. Okay, Okay, we have a proposed friendly amendment. I guess I'll bring this to the mover. President McCallum is suggesting that we replace organization in the second whereas with structure. Are you open to that friendly amendment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Minister.
In favor, yeah.
In favor?
In favor of it.
Okay, thank you, President. Okay, and seeing no additional hands, President calls question. We'll move to a vote. Okay, motion 10, general cleanup, that the PMC approve amendments for general cleanup for the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. All in favor? Okay, I see 3 in favor at the 20th Street office. Opposed? Okay. 1 opposed at the 20th Street office. Abstentions?
I just have some questions, but I'll address them with the policy team.
Okay.
I can review it because it's a pretty substantive.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And so, can we get a final count for Grasswoods, please?
Okay, I have 6 of 8, 9 votes in favor and 1 opposed. So that's only 10.
And 1 abstention on this side here. Sorry.
Okay, that's I'll read it again. 9 in favor, 1 opposed, 1 abstention.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, moving on to 8.9, amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan for provisions relating to the executive. We could bring that resolution up.
That wasn't
Okay.
provided in our.
Oh, actually, sorry. So this was noted by Treasurer Denemy as well. So just a few moments ago at the break. And so we have 8.9 amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan for provisions relating to the executive. I guess what we're hearing is that it wasn't in the PMC binder. So just wondering if somebody from policy can provide some clarity on that one. Oh, yes, Dorothy.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. The reason why it was not included is that we were still getting direction to revise the actual content of the resolution as well as the composition of the executive. So what we are going to propose is that we have a meeting next week to review this particular one and have fuller discussion, and we would provide this in advance.
Okay, so then yeah, based on that, in the binder, we're going to table 8.9 for now, and it sounds like there may be a follow-up meeting that's called in relation to that item.
I have a question.
Yes.
In regards to the issue, and I think we kind of slid over this before here when we were chatting, when it's like I'm an executive, Michelle and Jeremy. So would we be involved in the discussion?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I think what they're proposing is that it would be a meeting of the PMC, a follow-up meeting between like in the next week they're proposing, where that item might be highlighted.
Okay, thank you. I just want to,
yes,
because I noticed we did mention that like there's, certain concerns, we should be involved with some of this.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Secretary. Okay, so moving on to 8.10, setting the order of the day for the November 21st to 23rd, 2025 MNLAs. We could bring up the order of the day, please. Okay, whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan M&S recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, Katea, the Viewmont, elders, and old ones, youth, women, and the distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Council. Whereas Article 3-10 of the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan authorizes the PMC to set the date and place for each sitting of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, MNLA. Whereas the PMC at its duly held meeting on June 25th, 2025, resolved to hold an MNLA on November 21st to 23rd, 2025 at Prairie Land Park, 503 Ruth Street West, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. PMC resolution number 250625-11. Whereas Articles 6.2 and 6.3 of the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan Legislative Assembly Act 1999, the Act, as amended, directs the clerk of the MNLA, as defined in Article 2.4 of the Act, to draft an agenda for the MNLA, as directed by the PMC, and to compile the necessary documentation for the order of the day. And whereas the clerk has prepared an agenda as listed below for the MNLA to be held on November 21st to 23rd, 2025, therefore be it resolved that the PMC approves the agenda included as follows for the November 21st to 23rd, 2025 MNLA, as proposed by the clerk, who compile all the necessary documentation for the order of the day. November 21st, 2025, Dialogue Forums, Prairie Land Park, Hall A. November 22nd, 2025, Prairie Land Park, Hall C. Agenda Day 1, 8 a.m. registration opens, 8 a.m. breakfast, 9 a.m. grand entry, lead fiddler Dean Smith, opening prayer, Leview, Bishop French, Leview Mall. Okay, opening prayer from our elders. Métis Anthem, Loretta King, Western Region 1, M&S. O Canada Anthem, recording, 9:15 a.m. CEO address, Richard Quintel, CEO, M&S. 9:30 a.m. roll call, Richard Quintel, clerk of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, voting delegates. 9:45 a.m. motion, adoption of the agenda, order of the day. Proposed consent agenda items, adoption of the minute taker, reading of the record of decisions of the September 7th, 2025 MNLA minutes, adoption of the September 5th to 7th, 2025 MNLA minutes, business arising from the September 5th to 7th, 2025 MNLA minutes, acceptance of all reports, executive, regional, ministerial, and affiliates, appointment of the Dumont Scouts, 10:30 a.m. health break, 10:45 a.m. presentation, 24-25 audited financial statements. Mark Friesen, Minister of Finance, Matthew Vermette, COO, M&S, Echo Chin, Director of Finance. Sorry, I know I'm chairing right now, but I just noticed that Myers Norris Penny is not on that list, and they will actually be the ones presenting the statements as well. So I don't know if I can suggest revision, but I'm noting it anyway. And so motion 24-25 audited financial statements, 12 p.m. lunch. Parks Canada open door agreement renewal signing, 1 p.m. constitutional reform presentation, Brennan Morasti, Minister of Self-Government and Self-Determination, M&S, Dorothy Mayo, Deputy Chief Self-Government, M&S. 2 p.m. motion, amend Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan preamble to support transition from provincial nonprofit to self-government. 2:30 p.m. health break. 2:45 motions, amend Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan to include the Métis judiciary. Amend Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan for provincial election for women and youth representative to PMC during the general election. 5 p.m. adjournment day 1. Closing prayer. 5:30 p.m. dinner and entertainment showcase. November 23rd, 2025, Prairie Land Park, Hall C, agenda day 2. 8 a.m. registration opens. Day 2 opens breakfast, 9 a.m. Opening prayer, love you. 9:10 a.m. roll call, Richard Quintel, clerk of the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, voting delegates. 9:20 a.m. motions, amend Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan to clarify General Assembly articles, general cleanup for Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan. 10:15 a.m. health break. 10:30 a.m. motion, amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan for provisions relating to the executive. 12 p.m. lunch, 1 p.m. technical panel introduction, Matthew Vermette, COO, MNS. Technical panels, child and family services, housing and homelessness, 2:30 p.m. health break, 2:45 p.m. technical panels continued, health and mental health and addictions, education, 4:30 p.m. adjournment, day 2, closing prayer, review. Dated this 28th day of October 2025, moved by Marg Friesen, ER3, seconded by Brendan Morasti, NR3. Minister Friesen, do you so move?
I so move.
Okay, thank you. Minister Morasti, do you so second?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, and we'll open the floor to questions. Okay, and I see VP and Bev, VP, and then not Bev. Minister Fuller, the VP Senator.
I started that. Sorry.
Okay, sorry about that.
So yeah, just following up with Vice President mentioned earlier about making sure the ministerial portfolios were added to the order of the day for the agenda. And then other than that, I'm in support of the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Vice President.
Yeah, I was gonna add that to the first day wherever it fits as well. I'm just wondering, I'll ask President McCallum, you usually do a State of the Nation, but we have CEO Quintel doing an address, but I don't see you in here doing the State of the Nation.
Okay, I think Clerk Quintel can speak to that.
So last term, we were talking about trying to like switch up so that we would have less front end. And so that's why like the CEO address is already, we've set it to paper instead of doing at the last one, instead of doing a presentation. And so the recommendation was that the spring assembly would be where the State of the Nation happens, and then trying to get just to more business on the fall edition. But as mentioned to President, we can do it either way.
Okay, I was just a curious question.
I mean, on that one, we're flexible to any option, but what's missing is MOU signing with the Marshal Service.
Okay.
So I noticed there wasn't anything on the lunch for the Sunday, so perhaps we could do it then.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so we'll just wait for policy to make those quick adjustments. I think, yeah, it's just the ratification of the ministerial appointment for Minister Davis for Economic Development, Tourism and Sport.
For all of them, nobody
Actually, all
ratified
of
it
them.
last time, it was tabled.
Oh, for all, okay, sorry about that. Oh, yes, Heather, I see your hands up.
Yes, my hand is up. I would just ask that you would pose the 2 revisions or the friendly amendments to the mover and to the seconder. And I was just seeking guidance on where on the first day agenda the ratification of ministerial portfolios. So if we could maybe pose that to Dorothy Mayo, Deputy Chief, just a recommendation, but feel free to pose it. I'm looking for some guidance on where to include that item.
Okay. Dorothy, do you want to maybe weigh in on that, and then we can just pose the question to the mover and seconder?
Your state interest on that. It was just about adding this one.
You've got the floor, Dorothy.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I think that, can you scroll up a little bit, Heather, please? Into the afternoon of the day one. We can put it maybe the morning of day two. After the constitutional amendments.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so I'll turn to the mover, Minister Morasti, or sorry, I need to go back to the mover and seconder. I want to make sure I've got the right resolution. Okay, sorry, Minister Friesen, are you okay with friendly amendments as stated or as drafted?
Is she here?
There she is.
I have a question. Before. Why wasn't this on the agenda before? And why is it being added now? Like, that's my question. Why wasn't it added prior to us reviewing the order of the day?
It was tabled.
It was tabled, the last one.
Right. It has to go on.
Just wondered why it's,
It was tabled.
why it wasn't just on. Right, just
human error.
yeah, I would assume so, because it was tabled the last MNLA.
Yeah.
So when it's tabled, it then should go to the next standing.
Okay, so with that explanation, Minister, do you approve the friendly amendment?
Are you on mute?
Oh, you're on mute, Minister.
I'm still on mute.
I think we're having some.
Sorry, I keep turning my camera on and off, not my microphone. Yes, I'm in favor. Thanks.
Minister. Okay, Minister Morasti, do you accept the friendly amendments? Minister Morasti. You may be on mute as well. Oh, we had you for a second.
There I am. Yes, I'm okay with it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so to the questions, I have Treasurer Denby.
I just had a question if being that I find it unusual that the president isn't providing updates and and because he's a spokesperson of the nation. And so is that possible to put him up there at the front of the agenda?
Yeah.
Good job. I just thought Michelle mentioned that. State of the nation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can, Mr. President, are you agreeable to that? Okay. Okay, we'll make that one amendment to place President McCallum on the agenda for State of the Nation.
Chair, just in terms of process, can we pose that friendly amendment to the mover and seconder, please?
Yes, yeah, we can. I guess I'll turn it over to Minister Friesen do you accept that friendly amendment?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Minister Morasti, do you accept that friendly amendment?
Anytime I get to hear the press say the State of the Nation address, I am in favor. I must be hungry.
Seeing no other hands online and no other hands in the room here, we'll just move to a vote on this resolution. Motion 12, MNLA order of the day, that the PMC approve the order of the day for the November 21st to 23rd, 2025 MNLA. All in favor? We've got 5 at 20th Street. Opposed? And abstentions. Okay, we'll just wait for the final tally from Grasswoods.
Thank you, Chair. I have 11 in favor.
Okay, great. Motion carried. Let's move on to 8.11, appoint Newmont Scouts for the September 21st, 23rd, 2025 MNLA. Okay, so we'll just bring that one up real quick. It's coming, but I'm going to start reading it. Whereas the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan MNS recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, Kateyak, Labumo, elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Council. Whereas Article 8 of the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan Legislative Assembly Act 1999 directs the PMC to appoint Dumont Scouts to maintain order and procedure during the Métis Nation Legislative Assembly, MNLA, whereas the MNLA is scheduled to be held on November 21st, 23rd, 2025 at Prairie Land Park, 503 Ruth Street West, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, as per PMC resolution number 250625-11. Whereas the role of Dumont Scouts named in honor of historical peacemakers is essential to ensuring the orderly conduct of the MNLA proceedings. Whereas the PMC has identified individuals who are capable and committed to fulfilling the responsibilities of Dumont Scouts, therefore be it resolved that the PMC appoints the following individuals as Dumont Scouts for the MNLA to be held on November 21st to 23rd, 2025. John Belanger, Rick McKay, Dave Arnaud. Dated this 28th day of October 2025. Moved by Ryan Carrier, Eastern Region 1, and seconded by Laura Burnoff, Northern Region 1. Minister Carrier, do so move.
I'm filling in for Minister Carrier, so I will move Laura Burnoff, Northern Region 1.
Okay,
And then
thank you.
seconder by the floor, from the floor.
That's what I was just.
I'll second.
Fine.
Okay, Minister Friesen, you've indicated that you'll second. And keep moving to the speakers list. We've got Vice President Blair.
Yeah, I just heard you whispering something about Ryan. Ryan had suggested there's no women or youth up there, and I would suggest that somebody maybe contact Haley Burnoff or West Virginia LaCroix's daughter. She's served as, and she's the youth and yeah. So if we can
We'll absolutely do that, Vice President.
Okay, so I think the general consensus is if there are opportunities to add women and youth, we would do that. Are we comfortable proceeding with this resolution for today and then adding members at the meeting next week? There's an opportunity next week to potentially add anybody to the list, but in the event that we can't find any, we've at least got 3.
Yeah.
Okay. It just allows people to give them notification earlier. Okay, so then we will. I see no other hands up, no other speakers. So we'll just take it to a vote. Motion 13, Dumont Scouts, that the PMC approve the appointment of Dumont Scouts for the November 21st to 23rd, 2025 MNLA. All in favor? Got 5 in the 20th Street office. Opposed? Abstentions? We'll just wait till we get the tally.
The final count, chair is 12 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Motion carried. Moving on to, okay, this is the one where we had said that we would bring the item on women and youth elections back.
I don't think
but
they haven't had an opportunity yet.
they're still working on it, eh?
They're still in this meeting.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe provincial youth president.
No, they haven't.
What's this creation story thing?
Okay, so this one was where we had actually just deferred the women and youth item to, but I believe they're still working on revising that resolution.
Could you not just, if there is in fact, because not knowing the in-camera, Dorothy, the in-camera, I'm assuming has the rest of the resolutions need to be discussed, correct?
Correct. Thank you.
So we in fact do not have time left on the agenda today to make it through the rest of the agenda, so we will require an additional day. So, you could move 8.11A to the next sitting, which will most likely be next week.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a good recommendation.
Just time.
We'll.
What's 8.12 Métis creation?
It's another resolution.
Yeah, we can move on to that one.
Okay.
Next, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, Dorothy, you have the floor.
Yes, on the order of the day, sorry, was that passed already? I was,
Yeah.
okay, sorry, I was, busy with that. But on that one, I just wanted to say it says judiciary on the resolution, and we didn't actually update that piece on the agenda. So we'll bring it forward for the next meeting so you'll see the change.
Okay.
It's a minor change, but it is a title change.
It's a title change on the order of the day
That's
that's
correct.
approved.
Yes, of the resolution.
So, okay, yeah, it can come back next week if there's a change as well. The amendments to the Constitution of the Métis Nation-Saskatchewan for provincial election for women and youth representative to PMC, that will be moved to next week. Now we'll move on to resolution 8.12, Métis creation. Great.
It's our creation story, apparently.
Oh, okay. Okay, so there we go. Okay, whereas the Métis Nation Saskatchewan recognizes the distinctiveness of Métis identity, culture, values, and language, inclusive of knowledge keepers, Kayak, the Viewmo, elders, youth, women, and distinctive resources, which is incorporated into proposals and decisions of the Provincial Métis Youth Council, PMC. Whereas the M&S government has formally affirmed Métis distinction being identity, culture, values, and language, and has made a commitment to various initiatives that will develop a deeper understanding of the Métis footprint in Saskatchewan, including historic Métis communities, MNLA Resolution 250907-3, whereas the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan's creation story must be accurately told and solidified, recognizing the central role of communities such as Isla Lacrosse and Cumberland House before Red River or Manitoba became focal points of Métis history, whereas Métis settlements in Saskatchewan, including Wood Mountain, Willow Bunch, Saint Laurent, Saint Isidore de Bellevue, and Batoche added to the pre-existing historic communities within Saskatchewan, weaving the threads of Métis distinction in Saskatchewan into a vibrant tapestry. And whereas the PMC recognizes the central role of story within Métis culture, and that the origin stories of Métis Nation within Saskatchewan are vital to our collective identity and must be adequately researched and persevered, or it says persevere for future generations. It may, I think so, yeah. Preserved, I think, was the intended spelling. Therefore, be it resolved that the Provincial Métis Council directs the M&S to undertake the following: commission and support research into the origins of the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan, with emphasis on Isle Cross, Cumberland House, and other historically significant communities across Saskatchewan, and that this research may be conducted with academic institutions such as the University of Saskatchewan. Engage with Le Vieux Monde, Teac, the Old Ones, Knowledge Keepers, and Youth to ensure cultural alignment and intergenerational continuity in the telling of our creation story. Develop educational materials and public communications that reflect this understanding of Métis origins to inform future governance, jurisdictional assertions, and national identity. Dated on this 28th day of October 2025. Moved by Brennan Morasti, NR3, and seconded by, find out in just a second if we could scroll up.
There's nobody.
Oh, okay. This motion is a resolution is still okay. We do have a second word. So Laura Burnoff, NR1. Minister Morasti, do you so move?
I so move and would like to speak to it.
Thank you, Minister. Minister Burnoff, do you so second?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you, Minister. Okay, and so Minister Morasti, we will let you speak to the resolution, followed by Minister Friesen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to our colleagues. The Métis creation story is our resolution is a follow through of the Métis distinction resolution that our PMC and our Legislative Assembly passed unanimously. The reason being is to solidify our position, our footprint, and our story in Saskatchewan. As you all know, we've had some jurisdictional issues or concerns related to our counterparts in Manitoba. And so this is important and vital that we solidify our footprint, our position, our place in history. And this is just telling the story correctly as per Saskatchewan Métis. The official languages through distinction have been acknowledged, solidified in our legislation. We now take that next step with our story and be able to share that with the world or tell that with the world. So that's part of the reason for this being brought forward, and again, follow through on Métis distinction. Thank you. And I do humbly seek all your support on this one. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Minister. Minister Friesen.
Thank you, Chair. I do respect the essence of this resolution. However, I'm asking the mover and the seconder to for a friendly amendment. And my rationale is this: being from the South and being born and raised in the South as a Métis, there are definitely Métis settlements and Métis communities that are not reflected here, even though you do include them by saying other historically significant communities. I would like either, we understand the history of Isle Cross and Cumberland House, I get it. However, there are other historical communities within this nation, and by excluding the names of those communities, it kind of divides our moving forward on nationhood and building a inclusive government. So I would like to see either historical significant communities across Saskatchewan that remain and removing Cumberland and Isle Cross, or including all the other significant Métis communities here in this province, such as La Brette, Fort Capel, the Capel Valley, the Souris Valley. Like, there are other Métis communities also that have done significant work for this nation. And I'd like that to either be included or rephrase that first bullet point to just say with all historically significant communities across Saskatchewan. That's my suggestion.
Thank you. So we've got a suggestion for amendment. I will turn it over to the mover. Minister Morasti, do you accept the amendment as proposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Minister Friesen. I will say this: the intent is not to divide or take away from the historicness and contribution to the communities across our homeland in Saskatchewan. Isla Cross, Cumberland House being specifically identified in the first whereas is to acknowledge and recognize their significance with the 250-year celebrations. Cumberland House this year or previous year, and Sagatuak next year. In saying that, I would be open to the friendly amendment of adding in those southern communities as mentioned, but this also goes to why this resolution is in front of us, because the creation story of Saskatchewan, Métis in Saskatchewan, has to be told accurately. There are a lot of communities that get missed in the translation and the education piece. This is us putting that foot forward. So I appreciate those amendments, and I would be open to that as for sure.
Good. Okay, thank you, Minister. So for the policy team, I guess that would be the whereas where they're listing Métis settlements. Minister Friesen had indicated Lebret and Port Capel, and maybe other historic communities I heard as well. Is that correct, Minister?
Yes, and the Capel Valley Road Allowance people, the Souris Valley Road Allowance communities, like there are several communities that are not reflected here and that have fought in those battles alongside Gabriel Dumont, and those communities and their families are not recognized. So I would appreciate the recognition on behalf of the people of the South. Thank you.
Okay. So we've got that reflected. The mover has indicated that they were open to that. One quick note on there. In the whereas that's currently at the top of the screen, it says Saint Isidore de Belleville, and it's actually de Bellevue. So VUE. But I'll add the list. Okay, thank you. We're gonna get back to the speakers list here. Lapita Medlin, President Darlene Langan.
Thank you. I would also like Crescent Lake community to be involved in that, as well, as everyone knows that it is a very historical community with a huge Métis background, also of Road Allowance people and history. So I would like them included as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll move to the mover. Are you okay with that amendment, Minister?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. And I just want to check in with the seconder, Minister Burnoff. Are you okay with these amendments as well?
Yes, I'm okay. And I'm wondering about, I hear a lot about Round Prairie. Is it one of the original settlements too? Or did it come later on?
No, it was not original settlement. Thank you, Minister. Just gonna raise my hand to that because I know, yes, we have Round Prairie and a few other communities, and I think it would be beneficial for our council to come back with that suggestion once they start doing the research and being able to identify those communities and more wholesome conversation.
Okay. No, that's great. Okay, so we've got Minister Morasti. I saw your hand up earlier, but have you addressed what you were going to say?
Yes, Mr. Chair, did and done. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Leclerc.
Yeah, I think this is great, but I wonder, listing all of these historic communities, there's lots of them. I'm surprised by Minister Friesen not saying, is this coming to the Finance Committee? Because this is going to be a huge undertaking, which I'm not opposed to. not opposed to. But I wonder when we start listing the communities, and I think when we talk about, I'm a little uncomfortable with the Métis creation story. Because the Métis creation story happened a long time ago in the 1800s. And I think, outside of our northern communities, I heard President McCallum refer to La Loche, all of those northern pieces up there have a different story. And you're gonna find when we're looking at Métis creation story, if your intent, Minister Morasti, is to do this Métis footprint excluding Manitoba, you're gonna find that all of these communities that Marg has mentioned, other people have mentioned, Round Prairie, many of those people came from northern Manitoba. Northern Manitoba, northern United States, from the Red River, from into Ontario and throughout. Our creation story, that's why I'm uncomfortable with it, because it's different in different parts of the homeland. I'm not opposed to the research, and maybe that's what we'll have in the research. But by starting to name different communities, it makes me feel like there will be a lot that are left out. So around Bigger and that area, there's a number of communities there. Like, it's a huge undertaking. I mean, we're looking at Hudson Bay records and all of that. But I don't think that you're gonna find that we are just here in Saskatchewan. We came from all different places, and I'm happy with the research to be done, but I think by naming different communities, that some of them we don't even know about. I was listening to one of the elders testify in a trial, and he was talking about communities that I had no idea about, and I'm a bit of a history buff. But I just put it out there. I'm fine with it. I don't know what it'll cost, but I don't think that, careful what you wish for, it's not going to have a Métis Saskatchewan creation story other than in small pockets of Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Okay. No, I think that is a good point. I'm going to move over to Minister Burnoff, who's the seconder, because I do see your hand up, and just see if you want to respond to that.
Yeah, I thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had this brainwave when VP Leclerc was talking that maybe we can just say for example, like just a few examples from each area or something, but it doesn't encompass all of the places, so we can leave it open in that way. Then we can prioritize after. Yeah, so I just had that thought because it would be too much, like VP Leclerc said. I mean, we'll get to them in due time, but just to start with.
Okay.
I don't know if it makes
Okay.
sense, but
So we've merged that wording in. So thank you, Minister. Minister Lethwood.
Hello, Chair. There were a few other communities as well. Like, how I agree with Vice President Michelle Leclerc and with Mark Friesen as well, or Minister Friesen. There's other towns like Bannocktown. Crescent Lake it's already been added. There's Little Chicago, but Lestock. Katepwat is another settlement. So there's a few other ones that are going to be missed, and I think this list will be ongoing, and I don't know them all offhand right now, but there could be 100 names put on this resolution. So it's either probably put them all or none. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Minister. Secretary Hansen.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, starting, I think it's a great idea to get all of the stories done. Like we do have the history here in Saskatchewan for sure, with Bitosh and I look at Regina and, like the vice presidents indicated, a lot of the people kind of connect, not kind of, do connect to the Red River, Manitoba. So, you know, at the end of the day, if we're just doing it to compete, you know, and it's gonna be like, you know, why are we really doing it? Is it, we need to be doing this because we do have a real, good history. Not because this province is doing this, is how I'd like to see it. I think that we'd have a lot better energy. And we do have two regions missing from the table. So, you know, we have their communities that we would have to look at, the cost, the women in the history. And could this information be used for other things? And I'm sure it can, like duty to consult and all of that stuff. So I think there's a lot here that we have to revisit, and I'm not for it, but I definitely think we have a lot more to add, and we can't leave anybody out. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Secretary. Can I do let's start doing? I do this. Okay, so good. Okay, Minister Fullerton.
Yeah, so looking at this and I'm listening and I'm remembering and I'm thinking stories and places we visit, and yes, this can get very, very big, very, very fast. And I think of, you know, all of our knowledge keepers, our story keepers, our storytellers, and also like the stories that are already out there, and so many separated. But so for myself, for Western Region 2A, and all of the communities within here, we hold all this knowledge. And I think that the families here would love an opportunity to steer this stories here, not have, you know, somebody else come in and do the work. So it would have to be very inclusive of the people who are already here. So like and I don't want to, there's, you know, already folks here that if you were walk in, they will hand you a history book of everything within there. So why would we go and try and reinvent a story that may be already there? So I think if we're going to approach this, it has to be, again, distinction. Right? Approach each person differently. We're not going to have, you know, we're going to do this, this, and this. And it's just, I feel like the intention is so good. This is so needed. I honestly, you know, want my children to have the educational materials and the communications. I'm thinking of just how big this can really get. And without, you know, being exclusive to anyone. And so how would we do that as a collaborative approach with all of the province, with the, you know, the communities that we're missing? We have historical locals, we have, you know, the settlements that aren't spoken of. We have Duck Lake that they're looking at changing their name, you know, so there's a lot of things happening. Yeah, I agree. The intention is good. I think, we have a lot of really big things happening right now. And I think this one, we could just put a little bit more thought and come back with this with a really good intention and a way to move forward and including the right people. But I do support this. I just think we need to fine tune a little bit more of that process.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research out there. Like there's a paper that Lawrence Barkwell did, that's, you know, has the communities across the homeland. And so I know there's a lot of relevant information out there already.
Yeah, it's just like Duck Lake has history books. Last one was done in 1982. I know working with Isla Cross 250 at the beginning. They have history books that weren't done since the 70s. So you're right. There is a lot of information. How do we compile it and then yeah. So anyways, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Minister Friesen.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to make some corrections here in the communities I identified. So it's not LeBret Farm, it's the community of LeBret, or the village of LeBret. And it's Capel Valley Road Allowance communities, that's correct. And then it's Souris Valley Road Allowance, not Fort Souris. Souris Valley Road Allowance communities. And I agree with, there is a lot of information out there, a lot of significant information that is told, passed down through generations. And I just learned recently of a community that was obliterated by fire out by Ituna, and that's St. Delphine. And we have a Métis cemetery there that is with unmarked graves. So we're exploring that information, but there's a lot of information out there that our old people, our old ones do share and do tell stories about. So I think that either we're very comprehensive in this list or we make a general statement. And I don't want to disrespect and exclude any of those significant communities. So I'd like this to be considered as it's a great idea. And as far as the financial impact, if it had significant financial impact, it wouldn't have hit the table because that is one of the criteria. And it does state with the research being conducted or may be conducted by the University of Saskatchewan. So if they have resources to commence this type of work, then we'll work with them. But yeah, there has to be a budget attached to it because it does have impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Minister Dignas.
Good. We're good.
There you go. Oh, you're good. Okay. Thank you, Minister. Okay, President McCallum.
Anyway, good conversation. What I'd like to say is, in the last how many years, in regards to the lack of us taking ownership of the narrative, in regards to what our story is, the title I would come up, Our Story, Our Land is Our Life. Somehow take those comments, those statements, and put them into a title in regards to our land, our life, our land is our life. I was thinking about your son, and what was the other one? Lawyer Kathy, Kathy's son. I was doing a presentation in Alberta many years ago before I became president, and I used that line: "Our land is our life." Tap me on the back, said, "Can I use that?" Sure, go ahead, use it. And so that's what I think about our story, our narrative. We always talk about that, but we're going to get stuck somewhere here, the conversation we're having, in regards to when are we going to tell our story? Everybody else is telling our story. Everybody is guessing in regards to who we are, what we are. The Red River is a perfect example of that in regards to the story they're telling, and we're kind of hooked along with that story. What I like to see is our own story. Let's identify in regards to where the conversation can start. You know, when you talk about the land claim, the Northwest land claim, there's money is going to be attached to that. There's research going to be attached to that. Every one of our regions in Saskatchewan is going to be affected by the Northwest land claim. So therefore, we've got to find dollars to be able to trigger research in those areas, to be able to have the regions identify their regions, their Métis footprint in regards to who they are. Even that Métis footprint, nobody ever uses that. I've used that many years, Métis footprint. What is it? And so that story needs to be told, but we got to start somewhere. So if we don't start anywhere, then all of a sudden, again, we'll continue talking and no action. So I agree, I support this resolution 100%. We got to start somewhere. And so it obligates the people that are sitting here at the Provincial Métis Council table to be able to go back and say, okay, let's do our homework. Each and every one of you have information that's available to you. It's just a matter of finding the resources to be able to support the Northwest land claim based on the evidence that you have within your regions to be able to identify your Métis footprint. So for me, financial, absolutely. We in the past have designated so many dollars to be able to be used by the regions. I believe Northern Eastern Region 3 and around Saskatoon have used and taken that opportunity to be able to use some of those dollars to do some mapping and doing a little bit of research, but there's more research to be done. And I've always said, even in our Provincial Métis Council meetings, regards to why do we sign agreements? We signed with the University of Saskatchewan an agreement, a research agreement. I've spoken to the Vice President in regards to who's in charge of research at the University of Saskatchewan, and we talked about this. But we need to be able to have information to be able to tap into new dollars that can avail. There's hundreds of millions of dollars going to the University of Saskatchewan. They've studied us to death. We got to start studying ourselves. So this is the first move. This resolution is key to that, opening that conversation, but doing the actual work that needs to be done to do research in the 12 regions that we have in Saskatchewan. So I support this resolution.
Thank you, President.
This helps. So I'm just gonna add on to, one summer I did work for the Gabriel Dumont Institute. I interviewed 20 elders, and those elders spoke their language. So there again, language retention, language revitalization, documentation of oral history, it's there. But where is it? We have to tap onto that to make sure that we're going to move forward with calls of action, 94 calls to action. Where is that reconciliation? We can do all that together. It all comes together with what we're doing, you know, and the elders, like, we have stories. I have my stories are 200 years old. My mom would be 125 years old. My grandparents would be 155 years old. That's old history, and I have it. Where is it? Anybody come and ask me? No, come and talk to me, I'll tell you. And it's Red River, but it's also Batosh. It's also Riel who died here. He didn't die in Manitoba.
Yeah.
You know, all those stories. And when I go to St. Louis, I go talk to those people around that area in Duck Lake. The stories there, Ben Smith knows so many, is related to Patrice Fleury, who was the general of the army, and brother-in-law of Gabriel Dumont. We're all related, and it's there. But no, we're oral culture, I tell you. But I was just talking to our youth reps and saying, who's going to help me to write my oral stuff? Who's going to help me? You know, I can record, I can talk and hear, but how are you going to tell it? That's their responsibility, these young people, to tell that story in that department that we have. That's more important than talking about where, what's going on. Sorry, I'm talking. I'm respectful to you too, by the way. I know when I know where you're coming from. You're excited like me to say things. Thank you. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Elder. Okay, two more speakers on the list. Minister Moraski and then Secretary Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Elder Fleury. I always hear those stories, and even from the likes of a Gerald Morin and many other elders in our communities in Saskatchewan. And as an oral people, it's time we start to write down this history so that it's not forgotten or taken when, God forbid, Fleury leaves us, and others like him. But we want to be able to write that history down and tell that story for generations to come. And based on the conversation here, you can see why this resolution is important to me, because of the lack of education on my part and many other citizens in our homeland, right? And it's to solidify our footprint, our history, our story, no matter where it's connected to. But it has to be the Saskatchewan story that is told, from Batosh to Isle across to Cumberland and LeBret Farms and so many others that have been listed here. It is not with the intent to shut down a certain community or a part of our history. It's just based on my lack of knowledge. So this is why it's important. The research agreement that we have with the university, I'm hoping will complement some of this work, which will be led and owned by the Métis Nation as per that agreement. So I look forward to that cost efficiency process. And I thank Minister Friesen for acknowledging that, because she didn't even flinch when she talked about the budget. So I appreciate that. And I thank you, Elder Fleury, for your strong words, because this is the whole reason why this is coming forward, because in April, May, I heard the elders, and we don't have our creation story. Nobody talks about it. Where's the accuracy on that, right? And a lot of misinformation was coming for political agendas. We need to tell the right story, and that's what this is all about. So thank you, colleagues, and I hope we have your full support again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Minister. And Secretary Hansen.
I support this, this storytelling, and it's for our history, because like you said, our kids are coming, the generations to come. So we have to build on that, but is this gonna belong to our citizens in the communities? Because they'll be doing their stories, or is it gonna belong to M&S? Is there gonna be a time frame? Is there gonna be a budget? Like, are we gonna say all of this in the resolution, or are we just gonna pass it and forget it?
So just providing comment looking at the resolution, to me, this resolution just expresses an intention. You would need separate resolutions and decisions related to budget according to the financial authorities of the government. And so I think there would be more to come. This is just expressing an intention. Is my
Also, we don't need to
understanding.
vote on it then.
No, you would vote on your intention, but if there are financial implications, like that would have to go throughout the chain, right? If it's over 250, it goes to finance committee, if over one, it goes to PMC. So all of that, those obligations are there regardless.
So do we have to take it to the community so they can decide to? Like, is the information gonna be theirs? Do they want it? Like you mentioned, Minister
I think
said we
primarily,
have a lot of stories.
yeah, like I think you
They
had
have
to
a
research
Well, they covered it out
plan
there
first.
already.
Yeah.
Then Island Cross is gonna do it. And then we have three forms of possible monies to come, the treaty, the work of the Northwest Land Claim, and then there's the university. There's so many avenues we can take. But if we don't take steps to be able to lead our government in a way that our people understand that we're not sitting back, yeah, we go back to people, we have our little assembly, regards to how we educate our people, regards to what intent we have. And the Northwest Land Claim, they've done their in meetings, for many meetings they've had in regards to what their intent is, so it's an ongoing education for everyone else.
And it's what it is for me too, because it's an intention and I didn't know that the budget could come and this, so it's good. I'm glad I asked for that clarification. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're at the end of the speakers list, so we do have a resolution on the floor, so we do have to go through the motions of I guess bringing it to a vote. I know there's. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, let's get the vote out.
I thought it was already called.
Okay, motion 14, Métis creation, that the PMC directs the development of research into the origins of the Métis Nation within Saskatchewan. All in favor? Okay, we've got 6 in the 20th Street route border. Opposed, abstentions. Just wait to hear back.
He's sending us lots of hearts. Hearts.
Minister Barrett. Oh, there's some more.
No. Put it out there.
Chair, I've got numbers for you.
Okay, perfect.
12 in favor, recorded no opposed or abstentions.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Motion carried. So that gets us to item number 9. And the breaks. And we've got the break, and that's the thing. So we've got.
Yeah, let's take a break
So
from this meeting.
Yeah, I think like given the time, we can only do business till 4/27. We have to come back for another meeting next week anyway, because your resolution's coming back. There's still an in-camera and finance update. So there's another day of meetings, no matter what we do. So
We'll get that out. We'll get that out. So.
okay, perfect. We'll get the notice out and we'll come back together next week. Yeah, that's it. Meeting adjourned. You gotta pray out. Sorry. Everybody stay.
We need a motion to adjourn. I'll make that.
We need a motion to adjourn. Vice President Claire makes the motion. And then a closing prayer from our
Where
elders.
you have to say.
Oh, that's good.
Let's give thanks to this great day that we had and just visiting with our youth rep a little bit. We talked about how we can come together and how we can understand each other by a few
words that are said that are important, that trigger off the good things in our hearts and our minds. And this beautiful day that we came together and how we started today and how we're leaving today. And we're leaving with a good heart, good mind, and understanding. So we look forward and thank our Creator. And I'd like to have my sister say a few words too. And we such a big sweat man too. Shimarsi with the ganipo ya, ekiwichi ya, kanos koyeshiga. Rugen stotato ya, egan chimainige ya, koyesho pinamakoma. Katastamaka kyoge weuta li kasta iketala tabuta. Kakyo niga patstachik, kakyo shipege, chikakyo. Ikaya patstachik. Magash when to each heck was the one wow to beat the what tachik mina kewe. Moyak pegodali papige way just tachik. Mom tenace chicken wow. One exchange. Chigonita heck was the one wow. Kia over my search of peaks.
Samina Marci Kakeo. Thank you all that were here today on the homeland of the Métis on Treaty 6 territory. As we head home, we ask God to get us all home safely and thank Him for watching over us today and every day. Heal those in hospitals and fighting illnesses. Watch over the homeless. Protect the women and children. Watch over our Métis communities as we work together. I ask God for everyone's peace of mind and good health. Bless our families and our friends. God, bring home the missing and murdered men, women, and children. Merci.
Oh, mercy. I hope. Very good.